Welcome back, everybody. It's a great day for some Magic content today. Today I'm bringing you another deck profile. 10 new cards I've added to my Wyleth Soul of Steel deck. It's a Voltron Boros deck. This is the first deck I ever built, first commander I ever bought. So I updated him a good bit with cards from this new set and a couple of older cards that I've kind of found in my collection that fit it pretty well. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. At number 10, I have Selfless Samurai. 1 white for a Fox Samurai creature. It's a 2/2. Whenever a Samurai warrior you control attacks alone, it gains lifelink to end of turn. Sacrifice Selfless Samurai. Another target creature you control gains indestructible until the turn. So my big problem with my Voltron deck was I didn't have enough creatures in it. I would solely rely on Wyleth to do most of the heavy lifting, and granted, that's what you want to do in a Voltron deck, but when you start to deal with a lot of spot removal and they start just targeting your commander as soon as he hits the field, then you kind of struggle right there. So I want to go adding a lot of these samurais that were in the new set because they support samurais and warriors, which Wyleth is a warrior. So a lot of these new cards, or a lot of these samurais that were in the new set, that can help us out here. So giving Wyleth lifelink without having to put an equipment on him, that's a plus right there. Because for the most part, Wyleth's going to attack by himself. So when he attacks alone against lifelink on the turn, I can sack this, target creature I control against instructionals in the turn. That's big because Wyleth gets a lot of spot. Just like removal. They tend to use board wipes on him a lot. Minus counters, which indestructible and minus counters that gets around it. But you need your protection, and this is a great piece for it. So this is at number 10. At number 9, you will have seen this in another video of mine. I don't know which one's going up first. I'll decide that at a later date. But Michiko's Reign of Truth, 1 white for an enchantment saga. Target creatures +1/+1 to turn for each artifact and or enchantment you control, and that's the first 2 steps. And the third step is exile the saga, turn to battle with transform under control. The flip side is this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or equipment on the battlefield, which should be, yeah, so it also sees itself, so that's good. So with this card out, this is a lot of fun because this deck is all artifacts and enchantments. So we have out 4 or 5 artifacts, we have out equipment, we have out like mana rocks, we have out our enchantments like itself, and other auras that we put on our commander, because he does operate with, whenever he attacks, draw a card for each aura and equipment attached to it. So he does need auras in his deck as well. So this really helps out, gives those +1/+1s until a turn, and it's 2 turns in a row. Really underrated card. I think a lot of people should look into this card being a staple. We do see a lot of artifacts and enchantments nowadays, just so y'all know. At number 8, today is Ryu Storm's Edge, 2 red and white, legendary creature human samurai with first strike. Whenever a samurai warrior you control attacks alone, untap it. If it's the first combat phase of the turn, there's an additional combat phase after this phase. So this is just to get that extra combat phase. For the most part, the plan is to have Wyleth attack by himself, have these creatures out to help support him, to give him the lifelink like from Selfless Samurai, to give him extra combat phase like from Ryu. And if the big difference in the game going on at the moment, which would be a game of commander, is I need 2 combat phases, boom, this Ryu helps out a lot. It's a really good card. I really like this card as well. I do want the showcase, but I mean, I'll settle for the foil extended art one of them. So I mean, look at that, such a nice card. At number 7, I have Reinforced Ronin. So I think this is a card that's kind of going under the radar a bit for this set. It's a 1-drop, 1 red artifact creature human samurai. It's a 2/2 with haste. At the beginning of your end step, return Reinforced Ronin into its owner's hand, and then you can have its channel effect as well for 1 red, discard, draw a card. So you discard it, draw a card. If you open this up in your opening hand, you just get a free 2-hit out. It does come back to your hand. But for this being an artifact creature, you can throw it in a lot of artifact decks. And then when you don't need him anymore, when you don't need that guy out there, or when he's kind of been bounced back to your hand too much and you're kind of just wasting that mana now and you need for something else, you just channel. Channel is such a strong ability. I think it's such a fun ability. It can be like interacted with. So just being able to pitch this for 2 mana, draw a card, after you've already kind of played it a few times, I think this is a really slept on card. It's a really fun card to use. That's why it's at number 7 for me. At number 6 today, going to Strixhaven Mystical Archives, Gift of Estates. So another big problem with this deck is that I tend to not hit all my land drops. So say what you want about that in my deck building. I mean, I have a lot of cheaper equipment in here, so I don't need as many lands. Why it's only 3 mana to play. There aren't very many high cost stuff, but I still struggle to hit lands regardless. So this is a 1 white sorcery. If an opponent controls more lands than you, search your library for up to 3 plains cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, and shuffle. So this is literally just to get us some ramp. This is one of the few spells that can go find you lands for plains, really. And for 2 mana to go get 3 plains, I mean, it's a 2. You're paying 2 to go search for 3. And if an opponent controls more lands than you, if you're playing against any kind of green player, or really any player in general, you're probably going to have more lands out than you. So this fits in perfectly. This helps out a lot. And I mean, look at that card art. It looks just so nice. I mean, look at that. Gift of Estates. I think it's really, this fits in really well with this deck. It's number 6. At number 5, we have Norika Yamazaki, the Poet. So for 2 and a white, so let's zoom in on this one right here to see this card art. Even better right there. Look at that. A legendary creature, human samurai with vigilance. Whenever a samurai warrior you control attacks alone, you may cast target enchantment card from your graveyard this turn. So another big problem with playing Wyleth is that when he gets removed, he loses all his enchantments, all his auras that are on him. They go to the graveyard. So this is a good card to have out with him. If you get him on the 2nd or 3rd play, you have this out. You get to cast one of those from your graveyard. Granted, not at instant speed, because it's not how that works unless they have flash, I'm pretty sure. So just be able to bring back auras in your second main phase. It's just a really good ability that I really like a lot. So a 3/2 for a 3-drop that has vigilance itself and lets you cast enchantments from your graveyard. I think it's a slept on card, especially with the move towards a lot more enchantment based decks. I think we might see this card get a lot more play pretty soon. So yeah, Norika Yamazaki, the Poet. And this is just beautiful artwork. I mean, look at that. And that brings us to number 4. We're going to leave it zoomed in here for Heiko Yamazaki, the General. So 3 in a red, so 1 more than the other white counterpart to it. And this is a 3/3 legendary creature, human samurai. Trample. Whenever a samurai warrior control attacks alone, you may cast target artifact card from your graveyard this turn. So same thing. When you play a artifact based deck, like equipments, like mana rocks, they tend to want to destroy your artifacts. So you see a lot of Vandal Blast. You see a lot of spot removal to get rid of artifacts to stop you. So with Heiko, being able to cast those cards from your graveyard again, it just helps so much. That's kind of why I have her slightly above Norika, is because Heiko's artifacts, and it's not only like equipment, it's all artifacts. So they pop your early Soul Ring, or if there's something that destroys all permanents, your Soul Ring's in the graveyard, you like need to bring it back, or your Arcane Signet, Command Sphere, Mind Stone, those kinds of things. Or you could even say you attack with Wyleth, you have this out, you say, all right, the target artifact I choose is Command Sphere. You can sack your Command Sphere at instant speed, it's in the grave, so that way you can target with this, bring it back for 3. I mean, it's a good way to just shuffle cards in and out. It's a good little bit of like graveyard recursion. Because I feel that's the problem with this deck, is that people tend to target your artifacts, your enchantments, your things like that to kind of slow you down, kind of keep you from building up your Voltron beefy monster. So I think it's a great card to have in this deck. These two pair very well together. Plus their story is just so much fun to read and hear about. So I'm glad I got to add both these to my deck here. And let's just get that zoom in for this art for y'all. Look at me, look at that. It's the foil showcase art. There's a lot of Norika in this one, a lot more than Heiko and the opposite one, but still, it's just such great art. This whole set was just great art. I love Neon Dynasty a lot. At number 3, Akiri, Fearless Voyager, legendary creature core warrior for 1 red and white. Whenever you attack a player with 1 or more equipped creatures, draw a card. So it's going to be Wyleth for the most part. And pay 1 white. You may unattach an equipment from a creature you control. If you do, tap that creature and it gets instructions on the turn. This happens a lot. Board wipes and like spot removal and all kinds of things. So you just pay a white, unattach something, and your creature's indestructible. So it works out. The fact that it taps kind of sucks, but as long as you get to protect your main Voltron piece, I think that's the most important thing. And I think that's what each of these cards do in the deck that we've added so far. So is at number 3. At number 2, Goro, the disciple of Ryusei. So it's one in a red for a legendary creature, Goblin Samurai. Pay 1 red. Creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. So it's great when you're recasting Wyleth and you need to give them haste, and you just give mass haste to all your creatures, which is great. Or you can go 3 and 2 red, create a 5/5 red dragon spirit creature token with flying, activate only if you control it, an attacking modified creature. So this is great because for the most part, you're always going to be attacking with a modified creature in a Voltron deck. So if you need to get out a big dragon spirit that's flying, that's a 5/5, and you pay 5 mana for it, you're already attacking with something that's equipped all the time. Wyleth is most likely going to have something on him at all times, whether it's an artifact, an enchantment, an aura, those kinds of things. So Goro fits the deck so perfectly. He gives out haste, which is the most important part about him. Now let's get that zoom in for this artwork. I mean, this guy looks sick. Like, look at that dragon that he has around him. I mean, like, this card is just amazing. Man, yeah. So on to the number 1 card that we've added into this deck. Again, from the new set, we have Lion Sash. I am going to get a showcase art for this card just because it looks so sick. But Lion Sash is 1 white. For an artifact creature equipment cat, it's a 1/1. You can pay 1 white, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a permanent card, put a +1/+1 counter on Lion Sash. So this card is just amazing. So I played this card. Someone tried to do, okay, I'm going to give a -2/-2 to it. So then I simply just, okay, I'm going to pay 2 white. I'm going to exile 2 things from the graveyard. I'm going to get +2/+2, +1/+1 counters. So now Lion Sash is a 3/3, and your card is null and void. So Lion Sash is just great. It's graveyard hate. You can take out stuff from people's graveyards that just keeps coming back and keep recurring. And then equip the creature just +1/+1 for each +1/+1 counter on Lion Sash. So, granted, him by himself doesn't give any counters, but once you start exiling stuff and putting counters on him, then those counters go to other things. And it's 2 to reattach him. It's just great. It's just such a versatile card. The fact that it exiles cards from any graveyard is amazing. And that it's a 2-drop and just stack up counters like that is fascinating. So as you can see, a lot of these cards that I've showcased today are from the new set. The only ones that aren't are Gift of Estates and Akiri, Fearless Voyager, but the rest of these are literally all Kamigawa, Neon Dynasty. Like, this set has just been so great. I really love this set. I honestly think it's probably going to be my favorite set when you ask me 5, maybe 10 years down the line. Like, I might just go back and be like, yeah, I still have cards from that set in my decks. So yeah, one more that'll run through for y'all. It's quick right there. So at number 10 is, of course, Selfless Samurai. 9 is Michiko's Reign of Truth. 8, Ryu Storm's Edge. 7, Reinforced Ronin. 6, Gift of Estates. 5, Norika Yamazaki, the Poet. 4, Heiko Yamazaki, the General. 3 is Akiri, Fearless Voyager. Number 2 is Goro, disciple of Ryusei. And number 1, of course, is Lion Sash. Let me know what y'all think about my new adds to the deck. There are a few more in the deck. I just want to keep it 210, just so that way this video isn't too long for y'all. And yeah, if you have any more ads or any more other cards that I missed potentially from the set that I should add into my deck list, let me know. I'm gonna start linking my Moxfield account also under most of my videos as well, so that way y'all can see my full deck list. You know, drop me some comments, comments. Let me know what else I should add. Let me know any cheaper equipments I should. I've done the swords before. I've done sort of Feast and Famine, Light and Shadow, Fire and Ice. I've done those before. They make the deck too much of a target. But yeah, I think little things like this, they kind of just improve the deck and make it a lot more fun to play. So yeah, leave a like, share the video if you can. Make sure to subscribe if you aren't. And drop a comment. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know what I should add. Let me know what I should change up. Let me know if you have any more changes or ads for me. That being said, y'all have a nice day. And I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.